Hello and welcome to another episode of Hombre in Cheap Clothing. This is a knitting, spinning, fiber arts related podcast. My name is Jimmy and I'm coming to you from Bushwick in Brooklyn, New York City. Today's Sunday, May 3rd, and it's been a couple of months since I last recorded. Lots of things have happened in the last couple of months, as I'm sure you're all very aware of, and lots of things have changed, and I haven't been able to record because for the last 2 months I've had um, a full house, not a full house, but um, my roommate has been working from home. The building where I live has been full of people all day long, so there's a lot of noises and things of that sort. So today we're trying a little experiment. I'm recording really late at night to see if I can minimize the noise and record because I've been wanting to do a podcast, but I haven't been able to figure out how to manage one. As you all know, New York City is going through a very difficult time with the current pandemic. Um, but I'm very well. I've been staying home and trying to do all the proper things uh, that have been recommended. So thank you for all the messages that you've sent asking me how I'm doing, and I really appreciate it. Thank you so much, and also thank you so much for your uh, well wishes for my recovery. I'm doing a lot better. And probably at the end of the episode, I'll talk a little bit more about uh, the current situation in the city and the current situation with my leg. So if you're not interested in that, you don't have to be bored with those details. I don't have a lot of, I have a couple of finished objects. I have a couple of works in progress that I wanted to share with you. And I also have a little bit of spinning that I wanted to share with you. So probably this is not going to be a very long episode. The first thing I'm going to show you is this pair of socks that I was working on the previous episode. Um, so I'm not going to say too much about them because probably I explained all that. I can't even remember. I'm so sorry. I can't even remember what I said months ago. But I probably explained to you a lot of the details. These are a free pattern on Ravelry called Pucker. Pucker socks because of these are slip stitch socks, and because of the slip stitching, they kind of pucker when they're out of the, I don't know if you can see it, but when they're out of the blocker, they pucker a little bit, and certainly when you finish knitting them, they pucker a lot. But after blocking, they kind of smooth out a little bit better. But they're not completely matching because I actually reversed the scheme for one sock to the other. I did the main color in black for this one and the contrasting color with the variegated autumnal colors. And then I did the opposite on this one, the second one. I used the autumnal colors as the main color, and then I used the black for contrasting. And um, I used knit picks. Um, I think the base is the Stroll. I think it's called Stroll, and I don't remember the colorways because for some reason, well, I started these a long time ago, and I got rid of the ball bands, and I don't remember the colorways, but they are from Knitpicks, and this is the Stroll, which is their merino and nylon blend. And I used my standard size for socks, which is a US one. But I think for this pair, because of the slip stitching, I might have used uh, a US 1.5. Yeah, I think I used the 1.5 for this pair because of the slipping of stitches. When you slip stitches, the tension tends to become tighter. So yeah, so I think that's what I did. And they are top down. I changed the heel. The heel on the pattern is a um, flap and gusset construction, and I changed it to a German short row heel. Yeah, and then the rest of the pattern I followed pretty much the same. Not much more to say about these guys other than, which I think I mentioned last time, I screwed up the pattern because the chart is not explicitly, there's nothing wrong with the chart except that it's not numbered and it's not explained, at least not that I saw. It's not explained whether you're supposed to read the chart from the top down or the bottom up. I usually tend to read charts from the bottom up, which is what I did. But then when I was done with the first sock, I realized that that was not the way to do it, at least not according to the picture, the finished sock from the original pattern because as you can see, like the chevrons are going up here, and in the original pattern, the chevrons kind of go down. So I did it backwards. So that's the only thing that, I mean, I don't know if I don't know how much of a difference it makes. That's the only thing that I would pay attention to if you decide to make these. Interestingly enough, from all the projects that I saw on Ravelry, 'cause I like to check to see what colors people use or if they have any notes, if they have any errors that they spotted. So I like to check the notes and how much yardage they used and stuff, things like those. And I think all of the projects, the finished projects on the pattern page have the pattern correctly, except me. So clearly, I mean, yes, I did something wrong, but clearly everybody else seems to understand the chart correctly, except for me. So anyway, so that's something to keep in mind if you decide to make these. Um, not a big deal apparently because people get it right, except for me. So these are finished, they're blocked, and I'm pretty happy with them. I have enough I have enough yarn left over to make myself another pair of short um, short socks, which is probably what I'm going to do. The That's project number one. The second project that I have finished, which is the only other project that I have finished in terms of knitting, is the Seriously Holey shawl by Stephen West that I showed you the yarns for last episode. Um, and here it is. It's finished. It is blocked, but I haven't woven in the ends yet because I'm super lazy. But this is what it looks like. This is the front. This is the back, right? Because it's brioche, it's pretty much reversible. I mean, you can tell that this is the front because of things like these, the eyelets, for example. You can tell that that's the front, and then you can tell that this is the back because the increases are not completely reversible in brioche knitting. But and I think that's a minor detail. I think you can see it. You can wear it uh, on either side, and it would be fine. This was kind of a quick knit, quick-ish. I think it took me maybe a month, or yeah, probably in like a month to finish. Um, I used I think I have the leftovers here. I used some Malabrigo Mechita, which Mechita is their singles. They're 100% merino, might be superwash singles. And Mechita, as I was telling the guys from Needles at the Ready, I believe. Oh. Yes, that Mechita is the word for singles in Spanish. These are the two colors that I used. Uh, the gray one, I think it's called Pearl, and this one is called Cereza, which is cherry. And also, because Stephen West used like a fingering merino sort of type wool and a Uh, I think it's a fingering, might be a sport uh, Suri alpaca for the contrasting. What I used was I supplemented the fuzzy with with some mohair, and this is the mohair that I use. This is from Amy uh, Stranded Stranded Dyeworks, and this was called Modern Love. I think that's the colorway um, for this one. So these are the three colors that I used, and I wasn't sure when I started knitting. I wasn't sure in my head. I think I wanted to use the red one as the main color, and then the gray one as the contrasting color. But then I knitted a sample where I used both interchangeably, and I kind of like the gray as the main color, but I wasn't sure. So what I ended up doing, which is this is not part of the pattern, but what I ended up doing was that I did um, the main color in gray for most of the shawl, and then towards the end I put a border in you can see here. I inverted the colors, right? So I switched the red as the main and the gray as the background color down here, just to give it a little bit of a border. And I always held the mohair in the back. So the mohair is I don't know if you can see, but it is marled in the back throughout, and then yeah, you can see it down here. So the mohair was always held in the back of in the back side, but I did flip the colors towards the end just to give it a different border, and that way I felt like I would end up with both both choices that I wasn't sure which one to choose. When I wear it, this is huge, by the way. I can have both colors, and this is really this is really hot. I followed the pattern in terms of uh, the needles required, which is a US 5, just I think 3.75 millimeters. And yeah, so I didn't alter anything from the pattern. I followed the increases and the decreases, and I pretty much stayed on pattern except for like I said, for the border that I decided to switch around. Um, but yeah, that's it. And it has a an I cord. I don't know if you can see it. It has an I cord bind off, which you have to be mindful of when you're making it, because you want to make sure that it has enough slack um, for when you block it. So when it ends up blocked, the border doesn't pucker, as it were. So yeah, this is my second finished object, and I knitted this alongside a few friends over on Instagram. We had a small kind of a knit along with some friends from Barcelona and some friends from Chile, and so and then um, a friend from Hawaii joined in, and it was kind of fun. We just, I mean, it wasn't an official knit along of any sort. We just asked people to join us if they wanted to join and to knit it at their own pace because this is brioche and it can be a little bit daunting for people who, especially people who've never tried it. Um, but it might be daunting, but it's not difficult. At least I don't think. Um, Especially this pattern is actually not. It doesn't get it doesn't get difficult until you come to and only because of the decreases, which are very well explained on the pattern. But most of the shawl, you only do increases, and those are just yarn over increases in brioche. It's not difficult to do. Once you come to the decreases, they're directional decreases, which I think you can see. Those are the only difficult stitches that you will find on this pattern. But I mean, difficult. They're not very difficult. If you're just starting to knit, might be a little more challenging. But if you've been knitting for a little bit and you're feeling adventurous, I think this is something that you can easily do. So that's my second finished object, and that's it for my finished objects. Also, I've been working on a couple of other projects. My sisters are having their birthdays this month, and I'm really late. And I wanted to knit them some shawls. I'm in the middle of knitting the first one, and I haven't even touched the second one. So I'm probably not going to be done by their birthdays, but because I'm not going to be able to see them for their birthday, I guess I'm feeling pretty safe. Um, might be the wrong choice of words there, but I'm feeling confident that I will have them done before I see my sisters. Um, Last episode, I showed you a pattern called Andecha that is designed by my friend Belen, who lives in Oxford. She has a knitting channel called Tejer Inglés, which I've explained uh, in previous episodes, where she does a lot of tutorials for people who are learning, and especially people who are learning um, to understand the abbreviations and symbols and things of that sort in knitting, and especially in patterns in English. But anyway, she designed this shawl. I showed it to you last time, um, called Andecha. This is the shawl that I made. This is my shawl. So this is what it looks like, and I am doing one of these for my sisters. I'm making each one of them one, right? And so I shouldn't be touching my face. Don't do that. Don't touch your face. I have washed my hands um many, many times. Many, many times. Um and so I'm making my sisters their own Andecha shawls, and this is what I have so far for my sister. My eldest sister, she likes blues, like I do. So this is this is her shawl. I changed this a little bit. This is the original design for this shawl was done in sport weight. I knitted it in fingering held together with mohair to make it thicker and get the sport gauge for this. But for my sisters, I chose to go a different route because I like to make my life um, more complicated than necessary, I guess. But I chose lace weight, so that's that's what I'm working with. That's I'm working with lace. Um, it's a Malabrigo actually. It's a Silkpaca is the name of the base for Malabrigo. It's a silk and alpaca blend. I think it's 70% baby alpaca and 30% silk. Which is it's very nice, very uh, um, luxurious, very soft, and it has a nice drape. So I thought that it would make a nice spring shawl or a nice late summer shawl or fall, early fall shawl when if they're in the backyard and it gets late, they can just throw this over their shoulders and not be too hot. But anyway, um, so that's the thinking process behind the decisions for the lace. I also changed the texture of the shawl. As you can see in this one, I don't know if you can, I should take it off. I don't need to be wearing a shawl. Um, in this one, you can see that there are stripes, right? Like there's one stripe and another stripe and another stripe and another stripe. So, and they're interlaced with some fingering, not fingering, garter stitch rows in there, right, to break it up. But what I decided to do with the shawl for my sister is that I decided, I don't know if you're going to be able to see, but I've added some texture in one of the stripes, right? So this stripe has a seat stitch texture. This one is just a plain stockinette, and then over again to seat stitch, and then stockinette, and so on. So it has a little bit more of a textural feel. You can see it sideways. I think you can see it. So those are the changes that I did to the pattern, which I'm not going to say I regret, but it has made knitting it a little more engaging than I thought it would be because especially the setup for the seat stitch section is always I have to pay extra attention. I always end up with a seat stitch is one knit, one purl, one knit, one purl, one knit, one purl. Sometimes I end up with two knits together, or I end up with two purls together, or something. So I have to pay extra attention to that, and that's always time consuming. So, I mean, I'm liking the results so far, but it is more challenging than I thought it was going to be. And because I'm doing another one for my other sister, I feel like I should also do the texture or some similar texture on my other sisters because I don't want to be like, oh, I made the plain one for one sister and the nicer one for my other sister. So, but anyway, the needles that I'm using, the original calls for US 6, which is a 4 millimeter. Because I'm using lace, I'm using a US 2 for this one. So I'm working with a US 2, which is a 2.75 millimeter needle. So that's also going to uh, make it a little bit more challenging because I think I've done 10 sections on this shawl so far, this one that I'm working with, and I think this one with the sport weight gauge is 11. This one is 11 sections, and I think I've done 10 or 9 on the other one. So if I was knitting it with this gauge, I would be finishing it very soon. But because I'm doing it in this gauge, I feel like I'm not even halfway there yet. So lots of knitting left. This is what the yarn looks like in in a cake. And it's called, I think the colorway is called Azules, blues. I think. This is what it looks like, and I have a contrasting yarn uh, in black. It's just black. The last work in progress that I have is a sweater that I had shown you at the end of last year, I believe. This sweater is called Gaudi Sweater, designed by Julie from JonBoyNY in Paris. It's inspired by the architecture of Gaudi, and this is what I have so far. I have finished. Last time I showed you was right here. I had just done the done the yoke, and now I've finished the body, and I've done one sleeve, and I have another sleeve to go. Um, I think you can see something interesting happening in there. I was working on this. I started working on this sweater in the summer of last year, and I knitted it uh, until about the end of November, and then I put it on hold because I wanted to get some Christmas projects done. And then I had my accident, so I didn't pick it up until about the middle of March. And when I picked it back up and started knitting again, I realized that my gauge had somehow changed. I didn't change. Uh, this is the point where I stopped knitting in November, and then this is where I started knitting in March. Uh, the skein of yarn didn't change, the needles didn't change, but somehow I ended up with a break in all around, a break in the flow of what was happening before. And you know, this is hand-dyed yarn. This is ChileKnitz, and her which is I think this is her merino nylon base. Uh, so yeah, that 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 happened, and thought I thought about undoing it, but if I hadn't done it, I probably would have had to go back all the way to the yoke, or maybe even more. I don't know. I didn't want to undo anything, and I just continued. It's not. Um, it is noticeable. It's a noticeable break. Is it going to bother me? I don't know that it's going to bother me because, to be honest, when I'm wearing it, I'm not gonna be I'm not gonna be able to see it. Other people might see it, but if I'm wearing it, what I'm going to see out of the corner of my eye is going to be the color work, and I'm going to probably see the sleeves, which have color work in them too. And I don't. It's not. I mean, I don't believe it's going to bother me at all. Uh, so yeah, this sweater was knitted, or is being is being knitted with 2.5s. Yeah, US 2.5s for the body, and US 3 for the yoke, the color work part, and a 2 for the ribbing, I believe. This is what I have so far. Hopefully, by the next time you see me, it will be finished and blocked and all that good stuff. I mean, I'm not going to be able to wear it until this sweater was supposed to be my Rhinebeck sweater. Then I didn't finish it, obviously, for Rhinebeck. That was in October. Then I kept working on it because I thought it would be my Vogue Knitting Live sweater. Uh, Patch of Eyes got in my way, and Vogue Knitting Live didn't happen for me, so I didn't pick it up. So hopefully, um, if there's a Rhinebeck this year, I hope there will be. This is probably going to be my Rhinebeck sweater for this year. So, yay for early planning. So shameless. But yeah, so this is Gaudi from Julie Knits in Paris. The last bit of projects that I have to show you are from my spinning. I've been spinning a lot because my knee has been getting better. I was able to get back on my wheel again, so I've been spinning on my wheel a lot. I still spin with my spindle, as I might have mentioned before, I'm sure I did. I used to go to a spinning group at the Knitty City. I was doing that just to keep my spindle spinning going. And actually we still meet on Sundays, or most Sundays on Zoom meetings. And so I've been spinning with my spindle still. Last episode, I think I showed you some spinning that I was doing from a braid that a friend from Singapore sent me, and I divided it into um, 2 ounce or 50-gram balls, and so I was going to make two skeins, one for me, and I was going to send one to my friend, depending on which one looks nicer to send to her. And this is the first one. This is the first one that I got. The colorway is called Rooster, and the the fiber was hand dyed in Singapore, where my friend lives, and the indie dyer. I think her her name is Parker Parker Kitties, I think, and the colorway is called Rooster, and this is the first skein that or half of the braid that I've spun. I did a two ply yarn, and yeah, so this is about 180 to 200 yards of fingering a fingering weight yarn, and the second half of the braid has already been spun up, and uh, it's been made into what is called a ply and ball. So this is also a two ply. It's going to be a two ply yarn, and it's going to look like that. Uh, and I haven't plied this because my friend who sent me this braid, she's learning to spin, and so when she's ready to start plying, I'm going to teach her how to ply, and I'm going to use this as the class materials for to demonstrate on. Um, so maybe next time I see you, this will also be plied, right? But that's the second half of this braid. They go together. And then on my wheel, I had gotten back in Rhinebeck 2018, I believe, I got a bag of, or maybe last year, I got a bag of um, bits and ends from Into the World, uh, which is like a 4 ounce bag of assorted little bits of leftover fiber that they were experimenting on for dyeing, or whatever was left from uh, the full braids that they were making, or for whatever reason. So it's kind of a mystery mix of different kinds of wool blends and compositions and colors. And so I used that bag to as a practice run to get back on my wheel. And um, this is what I ended up spinning. It's I think it's a little bit over 200 yards, maybe like 250 yards. Um, this hasn't been the twist hasn't been set, so I haven't washed it yet. So I haven't really measured how much it is, but that's what I'm calculating, like 240, 250 yards. Um, and I did a uh, Navajo ply, a chain ply on this to keep the colors and the wools kind of together in their own sections. So yeah, so this is what I spun on my wheel, and then um, and I'm probably I mean I'm probably not going to use this on any sort of project because it's it's a Frankenwool. I don't know what to call it. It's a hodgepodge of different wools, and I don't know how they would behave, and I don't know that I would use this on any project. But but yeah, so it was fun. It was fun to spin, and then after that, after I did this, I regained a little bit of confidence on my spinning on my wheel. So I also had gotten a bat from Into the World, the same company at Rhinebeck. I got a bat, and I'll show you a picture of what the bat looked like. And I spun that also. I was trying to do like a woolen yarn because the preparation was for it was a woolen preparation on a bat. So I did two. I split the bat into two to do a two-ply yarn, and these are the bobbins that I spun on my wheel. Um, the colors start from yellow. The colorway is called Starry Night, but in Dutch, so it's like Nacht. I don't know how to speak Dutch, but it's the painting by Vincent van Gogh, uh, and so that's the inspiration. I'm assuming that's the inspiration behind the colorway. So it has yellows and greens and turquoise and royal blue, dark blue, and so you can only see the end of the braid, which was the blues, because I started from the yellows. And these are resting for a few days, and while they're resting, I am spinning some cormo that I showed you maybe 2 episodes ago. Uh, I'm spinning the cormo for a shawl that my friend MJ designed for me. She knitted one, and I showed you. I'll show you a picture because I was wearing that Rhinebeck. She designed it for me and knitted it for me when she came to visit New York last summer. But I want to knit my own version because she published the pattern, which is called My Brooklyn Friend Shawl. She published the pattern, but she made some changes to the shawl. So my shawl is not exactly the same as the shawl that is on the pattern. So I'm going to make myself the published pattern version of that shawl. So, and I'm spinning the yarn. Right now I'm spinning the first bobbin of that yarn, and it's going to be a 3-ply yarn. And this is, I don't know if you can see, it's kind of glary. But this is Cormo. This is 100% Cormo, and I am spinning it. I'm making 3 plies, and each ply starts with the dark, then it goes into this kind of fawn light brown color, and then it ends on the white. These are natural colors; they're not dyed. Um, and I'm going to do 3 plies, and then I'm going to knit the shawl with that. And right now I'm in the process of spinning the first single out of the three. And so the bobbin is on my wheel right now, so I can show you. But I'll post a picture here so you can see what it's looking like. And that's all the spinning I have at the moment. Um, yeah, and I think that's all the catching up. that I had to do with you guys for the knitting and the fiber content. Thank you for coming and talk a little bit about my recovery. And so, if you don't want to hear that stuff, thanks for coming. Thanks for staying for a little bit, and I will see you next time. In terms of my recovery, it's going pretty well. Thank you very much for the well wishes and for all the messages that I received after the last episode. I'm very touched, and it's very kind of you to worry and to think about me and to wish me well, and I really appreciate it. And my knee is doing much better. Um, as as you've been hearing, I'm able to spin on my wheel. Uh, I'm no longer using crutches. I have a cane now that I occasionally use, um, but not much. Uh, I was doing a little bit of physical therapy, but that has uh, because of the uh, COVID-19 pandemic, that stopped. And I've continued to do therapy basically on my own, following my doctor's instructions on the types of exercises that I need to be doing, which I guess is not ideal, but it's not the worst. Um, I feel like I'm recovering, so that's I'm fidgeting with my hands and I'm making noise. Sorry. I feel like I'm recovering, so that's the important thing. And we'll see once we come out the other end from the uh, not we're not from the quarantine, I guess. Then we'll see how that goes in terms of physical therapy. But it's much improved. So thank you. And in terms of uh, the pandemic, um, I'm okay. I think I mentioned that at the beginning of the episode. Again, thank you for the messages that I've received, for your concern. I'm okay. I'm trying to take care of myself as much as I can. Try to not go outside at all, which because of the leg, that kind of helps. But yeah, so yeah, I'm healthy. I'm sane. Uh, and yeah, so I think I'm excellent considering everything that's happening around. So yeah, thanks for your concern, and hopefully I will stay healthy, and so will you. And uh, thank you for doing your part, which I'm sure you have, for staying home, or if you're an essential worker, for doing that work every day and taking care of us, the rest of us, every day. And I also thank you for that. And yeah, so hopefully next time you see me, things will be maybe not back to normal, but much more resembling normalcy once again, hopefully. So uh, thanks for coming. Thanks for staying, and thanks for your well wishes. And I hope you also stay well, stay healthy, and keep yourself uh, optimistic and um, not too worried, I hope. Until next time, bye. Thank you.